Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
So great to be back and getting into the groove of a new year. Hope everyone had wonderful holidays. This household did. We have finally become adults. The new furniture arrived yesterday. I think the other we've had close to 20 years. Dipsy Doodle Productions' revamping of the studio is almost complete. And then, of course, studio and show mascot Charlie makes us smile every day. You might even hear him speak up a few times in this episode. But later in today's show, we hear from singer-actor Betty Kay, who has opened up her own voice lessons studio called Paragon Studios. In just a few minutes, we'll be joined by comedy contest producer Jayson Weihs to talk about Saturday night's 2024 Funniest Comic Contest, of which I will be the MC. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Whatever you're drinking and whatever you're drinking it out of might very well be determined by where and when you happen to be listening. My choice, Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime. For you, be it a cup of coffee, spot of tea, glass of milk, bottle of water, mug of beer, a cocktail, a glass of wine, or a flute of champagne. Lift it high and toast to the new year, which hopefully brings good health, both physical and mental, and great happiness. And may you feel wealthy, not rich. Cheers to you, 2025. The Weekend Eve Toast is brought to you by Chasers, West 12th Street and Ellis Road. Chasers has great food and beverages, and on Monday nights at 7, we play Dave Holly Hour Trivia. Coming up the 13th, Monday, join us for the fun. Honorable mention. So what over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, simply smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy? Friday night, my love and I took in Joel Shotwell at the Trio Jazz Club. That alone made me happy. But as the late-night infomercials would say, but wait, there's more. They were joined on stage from time to time by some local poets. Very cool event. In fact, talked to Ricardo at Trio, and he says, yeah, we're trying something new. I said, well, that's great. You know, Ricardo, you are the one that you don't reinvent the wheel, you just keep making it better. So while the poets were reading, the band improvised on that. So it was a very good collaboration. Very good collaboration of the arts. Very well attended and very well received. Later in the show, singer-actor Betty Kay. In just a moment, comedy contest promoter Jayson Weihs. On the Dave Holly Hour. Creatures Big and Small is an immersive art exhibit that explores the vast spectrum of animals, real and imagined. The exhibit celebrates the beauty, diversity, and significance of creatures in various artistic mediums. It opens this Saturday, January 11th. Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts in the historic Shriver Square building, downtown Sioux Falls.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque studio time or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
People ask him where he got his top shelf voice. Dime store? Bargain. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yes, you've missed it for 2 weeks, haven't you? You know I'm going to say it's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and one of the great pleasures is having a new guest on. And with that today, we bring you from, let's see, Collective Efforts Union, 605 Live, and how many other things?
Bosses Comedy Club.
Yeah,
and,
Bosses, and that's what we're going to be.
Bump Underground is another project
That's
that I
right.
was
Yes.
working on for years that hasn't really developed the way I wanted. But yes, these are all kind of local entertainment entities that I have attempted to create over the years.
Yeah, well, you've been busy. That keeps you hopping for sure.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. So the one thing that's going to be hopping this weekend, Saturday night at the Icon, it will be the 2024 funniest comic of the year. And it's the 12 comics that won the monthly Larry Brinkman Award from Bosses, correct?
Yes, there were a couple duplicate winners,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, a couple who were unable to make it. So we have 9. I believe.
Oh,
Yes.
so we're going to end up with 9.
3, 8, 11.
11.
11,
11 out of a
11
dozen.
competitors. Oh, 10. I can't do math here. So
Well,
let's say 10.
you're not into
We'll
that.
call it 10.
We'll call it 10.
We had 2 that were unable to do it. We have 11, including our last year's winner, Jerry Irby. Who will do a feature set at the end while the judges and everything.
Yes,
tabulate.
and if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some social posts that whoever wins might have a knockout battle with Jerry, WWE style.
I'm certain there are plans to do something diabolical. Jerry's kind of been running the show for the whole year with the Larry Brinkman contests and everything. So.
We had him on the Vaughties last, well, it was Leap Day,
Sure.
and he was knocking it out of the park, and he brought his big belt with him.
Oh, yeah.
He's very proud of that, and it paid off. Then he ends up getting married, too.
Right?
Yeah. What
he's
a
had
year
heck
for
of a
him.
year,
Yeah, that is for sure. All right, so let's talk about this. We've got some great comics. And what does it take, in your estimation, to win this contest?
Well, I mean, there's a few, like, you want to call it the categories that the judges kind of look at. It's, going to be like stage persona and creative material and crowd reaction, how they memorize their lines and how professional they are.
Mm-hmm.
But comedy is very subjective. And we all, every month we have the winner from last month do a feature set after the contest. And that the winner from last month is the one who gets the judges for this month. So the judges are always new. They're not new people. So sometimes those judges will have, odd senses of humor, or will have, people that they favor, or, whatever, however it may be. But so, yeah, the judging is always very interesting. Sometimes the crowd goes one way and the judges go another. But yeah, it's always very interesting. But we have a monthly at Lucky's, the last Wednesday of every month. They have a open mic competition. Anybody can sign up. It's a free show. And they do the monthly Larry Brinkman Award is what they call it, and they pass a trophy around between the comedians. And then that's the Larry Brinkman is a Sioux Falls comedian who passed away
Right.
before my time, unfortunately. But so yeah, we still honor the tradition and have the trophy named after him, and the comedians all have fun. They pass the trophy back and forth, and they all add their own little touch to it. They add something to it. So sooner or later it'll have to be replaced.
Yeah,
but,
it's quite adorned.
Yes.
Either that or you're going to have to invest in the etching and, make it like the Stanley Cup.
yeah, I think it has a big chain for a necklace now, and some infinity stones on it, and quite a few other things that people have added.
Yeah. All right. So you said that the previous month's winner chooses the judges for the next contest.
Right.
Does that mean December's winner is choosing for?
No, I
the
just
end
picked
of the year?
some random.
You've got 'em.
Yeah, I just picked some random
Okay.
people. One ex comedian who hasn't been around for a while. A mystery person in the room. So I have a couple just judges picked out. So, and then what they do is they pick the top 3, and then they go by crowd vote noise.
Oh, yeah.
so-
You
so-
have an official meter?
Yeah, we
You
have a little
do?
decimal
Okay.
reader. Yeah.
Perfect.
We've never had to use it before because it's usually pretty obvious. But yeah, we do have that, and it's really cool to see the crowd get behind, and sometimes the crowd is starting off one way and somebody brings the crowd with them or whatever. So it's always a really cool opportunity for people to see comedians that they haven't, and it sounds like a lot, when you're telling somebody there's 11 comedians that are be going on tonight or whatever, but they do it pretty it's not like music shows.
Right.
They do it pretty rapid fire, and they all do about 7 minutes. So your show's about an hour and a half, 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's
We got
awesome.
Tremendous host, Dave Holly.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hadn't even mentioned that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to this.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. Last year was great, and that was I believe I helped with the one the year before that when it was out in T.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was kind of right around when I came into the helping with the comedy.
Yeah, because you've done a lot of different things. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But so how do people get to this event then?
Sure. Well, any of the comedians should have some posters and handles and tickets, and also there are tickets at Last Stop CD Shop
Okay.
and online the website collectiveeffortsunion.com. Sioux Falls Comedy on Facebook has links, and just all over the place. You should be able. There's tickets on Eventbrite also. We try to get as much coverage and as much visibility as possible. So if you look for Sioux Falls Comedy, you should be able to find it.
Yeah, and easily online.
Yeah.
All sorts of places to find it.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the event hall
Yeah.
at Icon. Such a beautiful room, and it's really good.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that. It's in the
okay.
backside, not the
right.
not
yeah.
the restaurant area.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to remember to bring a ladder to that stage. And my cane so I don't wobble. But, that'll be part of the opening monologue, too.
Sure.
Yeah, I got some stuff worked up already for that. And also thinking of some of the people that are involved in it who, they're all going to have a little bit of a tidbit of a roast in their intros.
Yeah, a lot of them also. Oh, you're saying for your intro, yes.
Yes.
Some of them do callbacks to the other comedians'
Right,
sets,
yeah.
but yeah, you got to give them a little jab when they're coming up. So that's the funny thing about all these comedians is they're all, it's a really tight knit community. They're all friends,
Very
and
much.
they all kind of rib each other a bit.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we talk about so often on the show is that it's a collaboration, not competition.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
this is a competition, but at the end of the night, they're all going to have a drink together.
Yeah.
They're going to enjoy it and say, hey, congrats, etc., and no bad feelings between people. And that's one of the things that is just so enjoyable about our arts community in general. All right, so we told them how to get tickets. How much are they?
$20. I believe they have premier seating, which is going to be the front row. I think those are 18, I believe the advance is. So it's 20 online because there's a $2
they've
fee.
got the fee.
And I think it's 25 for the premiere.
All right, excellent. So that's going to be an enjoyable night. And I would be expecting a pretty good crowd considering the competition that's involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, ideally everyone brings support with them, and we get a raucous crowd, and everybody has a little bit of fun going back and forth, and then that's the best part is when the crowd gets involved.
True. Now I know that sometimes when they have events over in the event hall, it might not have a bar. Is this going to have a bar?
Yeah, there will be a bar.
Oh, thank God.
Yep, there'll be a bar, and we'll have a little side room with some stuff for you.
Oh,
too.
fantastic.
So,
Yeah, looking forward to all that. All right. So how did you get involved? From my understanding, you were heavy into music.
Yeah. Well, let me list off the comedians just
Oh,
we
yes.
haven't done that yet, and there are so many of them. So let me just run through it real quick. But Jerry Irby was our last year's winner, who's going to be doing the headline set. And we have like our monthly winners. We have Kerner, Dan Snowberger, Eric the Green, Jacob Womack, Tony Tubes, who's actually from Aberdeen, came down and won at one time. Sarah Manson, Preston Williams, Adam Googe, Jocelyn Abad. I should have asked her how to pronounce her last name because I don't know. Abad. I believe it's Abad.
Abad.
Sorry, Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
And Zach
Jocelyn,
Dresch.
not Jocelyn.
Yes, it's
Okay,
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
Yep, and Zach Dresch.
Oh.
So, and our wonderful host, Dave Holly.
Well, Zach actually does the intro on this show and so forth. So
yeah, Zach's everywhere.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he was another, person that, tying back to your question, is just that someone I've known for a long time through many different things. So, yeah, Sioux Falls, I grew up here. And when I was in high school, I was kind of searching for my crowd and my scene. And I found, independent and punk rock music and shows at the Pomp Room and Nordic Hall and places like that, where basically like the social gatherings that I never had, and so Terry Taylor, a local promoter, I learned, some things from him and started booking some bands in houses and basements and halls and eventually bars and clubs and, larger rooms. So yeah, it's pretty much been a primarily independent music throughout most of my life, and which kind of dived into comedy a few times. But and so when Boss's Comedy Club kind of shifted some ownership, they were looking for some ticketing assistance, and I already had a built-in kind of system for ticketing and marketing, and we just kind of went from there. So
do you consider yourself more of a promoter at this point then?
Yeah, I would say talent buyer, promoter.
Okay.
Generally it's I do work with, regional and local bands quite a bit, but generally the headliners of the events I put on are going to be touring out of state, nationals. We do local events also, of course. So the booking and talent buying aspect of it is kind of the pre legwork, and then promoting and marketing up to the show. So yeah, it's a little bit of all of the things. It's entertainment companies can, be split up into niche or sectionalized people, but I pretty much have always been like a one-man show for my stuff. So I do the majority of it. But yeah, it's so great to just in comedy, you've met so many people, and it's just such a wonderful and supportive scene. I still continue to do music, but there's I've aged out of a lot of music is a young man's game, and I still have all of my contacts and connections from all the music and bands that I've booked in the past, but some of the newer stuff is I'm sort of out of touch on, and comedy is sort of timeless.
True.
So been leaning into that a little bit more, and Sioux Falls has been very receptive. So that's the one thing about Sioux Falls comedy that's been a challenge and a struggle, is that it's been so many places over the years and under so many monikers and whatever, is that your casual fan might have difficulty finding out what's going on. So they like to be as open and supportive as possible. If we can get anybody at one event, maybe we can get them at another. And, so everything is building.
And your social network obviously is building even more.
Yeah,
at the same
and
time.
we try to hit everything we can without bothering people too much. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, the social media aspect of it is always a challenge, also because it's financial, and as comedy and independent music and independent arts there's not a huge margin sometimes. So if you're kind of trying to get as much money to pay all the talent, you don't want to spend too much on advertising in advance, because then there won't be any left over. So it's a very narrow line.
All right. So were you ever in a band?
No, I tried. I tried so hard.
Promoter of it.
Yeah. No, early on I tried to play guitar and stuff like that, and it was just never my thing. I couldn't hold hold my interest.
Mhm.
But it was a story as old as time. I got my heart broken by a girl, and some bands inspired my sadness, and I wanted to see those bands play, and they weren't popular or mainstream enough to have been to play anywhere around. So then when you're seeking bands or music that isn't the mainstream, you have to kind of start searching elsewhere, and rabbit holes led me here. So been pretty much involved in Sioux Falls like event production the majority of my adult life, and I hope to continue.
So let me ask you this: have you done any stand-up?
No, I have
Once again, promote and
Right.
enjoy it.
I mean, I feel like I can be funny at times, but I've been told in my life that I had a penchant for the dramatic at times and things, but it's nothing I've ever really tried. I'm a little self-conscious about the whole thing too. As someone who's been around it my whole life, I'm not generally that comfortable on the microphone. But yeah, I just it's just something I enjoy, and I love supporting the arts and helping my friends out, and that's just been the main thing here with comedy is that, like I said, it's such a tight knit community that you can't help but make friends and just enjoy everyone's company.
That's for sure, no doubt about that. And you've been doing a great job of supporting the arts in general, and especially like you mentioned, more of in the past it was indie music,
Yeah, just
not the mainstream. And despite the fact that the comedy is growing
yes.
in Sioux Falls, our local comedians, when they go out and do the mics, the open mics and things along that line, they're not always looking at a big crowd of 500 or anything.
Yeah, support in a small town is tricky. It's when you start doing something new, you can get pretty much everyone to come and check it out once. Twice if you're lucky. But as a comedian, I imagine you get in front of the mic on stage as often as you can, 4 or 5 times a month, if not more. And there's no one who is charismatic or friendly enough to get all their friends to come out 5, 6 times a month.
Yeah,
It's just
true.
It just doesn't happen. So you have to always be searching for that new person, the line to the in ear that is unfamiliar. Someone new somewhere. So that's the difficult part of the marketing, is that everything is so targeted and so specific nowadays, that I always target comedy fans, quote unquote, but I'm looking for the new people, and there's no way to put in the algorithm, give me who you haven't, so yeah, it's always just a constant struggle to find that new ear and that new eye for comedy and music, and hopefully we can just keep supporting things within the community is the best part, to be able to, for the longevity of it all.
What strikes your fancy when it comes to comedy? What are the things that you look for in a comedian?
Oh man, that's I like a lot of the podcasts that are like themed comedy based. I like I like Doug Benson was one of the first comedians I ever worked with, and he has just a bunch of podcasts and like games, movie podcasts and quiz show stuff like that. I really like. Yeah, I really love working with all the local comedians and hearing new jokes and kind of like watching the process of how they punch them up and change little parts.
True.
And so that's a very interesting part. It's almost like if you're in the inner workings of a band, like recording a demo of a song, and then how they add layers and add sounds and stuff like that. So I just love comedy. I love the Jeffrey Asmus from Minneapolis was just here a few months ago. He was hilarious. Kyle Kinane I've worked with a few times in Sioux Falls. He's really funny. Sean Jordan, a local Sioux Falls guy, is on a podcast called All Fantasy Everything, with a few really funny guys, Ian Carmel and David Bory. That podcast is basically like a it's like cool person homework or something, you know. It's like your top 5 of this or that or this or that or whatever. So it's always a very interesting listen. So I'm constantly entertained by new and interesting comedy, and I'm happy to have been involved in bringing some to Sioux Falls.
Well, you were talking about the fact that it's fun to watch the process of each of these comics and so forth. And I think that's been one of the things that I find very interesting is you talk to them and they'll tell you how comedian X or comedian Y helped them with a particular joke or a bit, so forth.
Sure.
Hey, why don't you try this, and so forth.
Yeah.
And so they give constructive criticism to each other.
Yeah, that's the one of the coolest things about comedy is how collaborative it is. It doesn't. I mean, I know there's a dark side to that, of course, is, you know, stealing jokes or however that is, you know, taking premises or whatever, you know, those things happen. But you know, for the most part, it's always, you know, it's kind of like the, you know, late night shows or award shows, you know, whenever they have those monologues, you know, they've been written by 20 different comedians, you know, 20 hilarious people in a room write the monologues for the TV shows. You know, it's not Stephen Colbert or, you know, Seth Meyers or whatever. It's 20 people in a room, you know, so it's like, and then I imagine that that's what happens is that, you know, one of them throws out an idea and another, you know, punches it up, so they say, and gets it to stage ready. You know, and I think that, I think the local comedian process is kind of doing that all the time.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that because how often do you hear, you know, when there's a new comedian out on the scene and so forth? Well, they started as a joke writer for.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's something that I think your casual comedy fan doesn't know. You know, I mean, there are some of the funniest people in the world that don't like talking on microphones, you know, so they write. You know, Neil Brennan is one of my most favorite comedians, and he does stand up, but he's mostly a behind the scenes guy. He does. Do you know Neil Brennan? Are you familiar?
Not personally.
He has I would highly recommend. He was the original creator with Dave Chappelle of the Chappelle Show. And he's just a very, very interesting comedy writer. He has a Netflix special called 3 Mics where he has 3 different microphones on stage, and he goes to one of them and does like one-liners, and one of them is like really heady, thoughtful, like comedy, and the other one is, gosh, I probably can't remember what the third one is. But anyway, and he did another special called Blocks that was kind of about all the things that he perceives as being wrong with him or that block him from being, you know, normal. And then that turned into this podcast that he does, which is where I was going with my recommendation. It's incredible. It's called Blocks, and it's interviews with all of your favorite comedians or actors, and what they think is wrong with them, or what they think, you know, what led to their development of creativity. And a lot of them had lives of struggle and a lot of pain and a lot of very interesting things to learn that these people went through. So yeah, it's really cool to see, you know, someone you think is funny and like kind of hear their life story and how they got there. So yeah, Neil Brennan, I would recommend to anyone. He's a very, very funny and thoughtful comedian.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that is an overnight sensation.
No, I mean, it's the work. Yeah, it's insane when you actually look and hear even some people that appear to come out of nowhere, you know, and you talk, even someone like Matt Rife or something who would, you know, just appeared out of nowhere a couple of years ago and was bigger than Earth, whatever. You dive into a backstory, and he's been doing comedy since he was like 17, and he's been putting in the work, and he just recently became, you know, quote unquote, like hot guy or whatever that like propelled his comedy to the next level, but he had been doing it and putting in the work for a really long time. And that's something that a lot of people probably don't know. And it's really interesting to hear the backstories of where all these comedians started, because so many of them seem to have started at the same places. So many of the comedians of like my era that I think are the most fun are people that came up together, you know, so it's cool. And I really feel that we're going to see, you know, some of these Sioux Falls people somewhere down the line. You know, there's a lot of really, really good talent.
There is. All right. And so favorite venue that you've ever booked something in?
Boy, that's a tough question. Lucky's is fantastic for comedy. It's just the right size. It's, you know, it had been a comedy club back, back Big Fat Daddies, I believe it was called. Yes, it's a great room for comedy. You know, it's about 75 cap, low ceiling, you know, middle of the room. So the Icon Event Hall is beautiful. I love that room. I've done comedy at the Orpheum downtown, which is incredible and such a historic Sioux Falls space. So I'd say probably, this is the Orpheum would probably be my favorite place I've done. I had a comedy show. I have in June David Keckner, who is he was an anchorman in The Office. Yeah, he's coming to the Orpheum to do the Office trivia as one of the characters.
I did see that on your website.
Yeah. So that's gonna be really fun, and I love working with the Orpheum, and they're a very good event partner, and it's very cool to put things together in Sioux Falls that I would like to see, and that I think other people would like to see, and bring cool things to the community. So.
As a first-time guest, you get 2 questions at the end. How you answer number 1 determines whether we need to ask the second one.
Okay.
And you've touched on it probably a lot already.
Okay. I tend to do that. I talk in circles and try to come back at the end.
When you're not involved in the arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by?
So much of my adult life doing my work has taken place at bars and clubs where so many cool people and friends are. So I get so much of my social battery filled at work, so there aren't, I don't go out that much. No, I love comedy and I love music. Just this last weekend, I went to a show at the Icon. It was a NAMI benefit, the National Association of Mental Illness. They had a benefit show covering Elliott Smith songs, who's a really influential songwriter who passed away. So we had a bunch of local musicians doing that. It's just a fantastic night. I love going out downtown, walking around and seeing the cool bars and the cool spaces. I have an 11-year-old daughter. She's 10, but she'll be 11 real soon. So she occupies a lot of my time. She's amazing, and she's about to go to middle school, so I'm reveling in the last little bit of elementary school. I go in and do lunch on Fridays and stuff like that. I've done it for 5 or 6 years, and I won't be able to do it next year. So counting down the times. So yeah, I love. I love, and I know you said when I'm not involved, but I just love being involved in as many local events as possible. I always have felt like one event builds the next, that builds the next. Anything my company or my website or my logo can be associated with or partnered with will bring in a new set of eyes. A collaborative effort has kind of always been where I've started with this whole thing. Collective Efforts Union was actually just back when I started doing this, it was just random kids who knew people in bands who just put shows together. So it started off as Collective Efforts Union was just this thing that they put on flyers for you to know how to get a hold of somebody if you wanted to play the show, or if you wanted to whatever. Like anyone involved in that knew who was involved, so it was literally a collaborative Collective Efforts Union, and so when I started doing music and stuff in Sioux Falls, I adopted that name because I felt like that was the kind of the best way to go about doing it.
With all that, does it leave time then for any hobbies?
I play and deal poker a lot. I have over the years helped with poker games and have developed quite a skill at dealing for many hours without standing. So yeah, I video game with my daughter and we love watching movies and stuff like that. But yeah, all of the events and all of the planning keeps a person pretty busy, and yeah, life moves so fast.
That
so
it does.
I attempt to try and go to and support as much art stuff as I can in Sioux Falls, and I hope we can reach more people to do the same.
All right, one more time, the details at the Icon.
Yes.
What time do the doors open?
Doors open at 7:00. The show's going to start at 8. So
right.
there was about an hour. You can find your seats and get some drinks and get ready for the show. Like I said, the show would cap out at 2 hours, probably be an hour and 40 minutes, hour 45. 11 comedians doing their funniest 7 minutes. Crowd participation is a big part of the selection process. So we hope everyone come and scream for your favorite comedian if you know, or figure out who your favorite one is that night.
Excellent. Looking forward to hosting it
Yes,
as well.
we are very much appreciative and looking forward to having you.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jayson
you.
Weihs. Appreciate your time for this and appreciate everything you're doing for the arts community, too.
Absolutely. Anyone, any information like Sioux Falls Comedy on Facebook or Google, Collective Efforts Union is my website that has all the tickets and events. And please come out and support your local comedy and arts scene anytime you can.
Wonderful. And we will be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, I'm going to say it because I just like saying it, if nothing else. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire, arts, and entertainment, and always a pleasure to have returning guests on as well. It's her second time here. She's been making a name for herself the past few years since she came to Sioux Falls, with which we are incredibly thankful. And that name is Betty Kay.
How the heck are you, Dave?
I am the heck fine.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So happy to
it
be
really
here.
is. Yes. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy
and,
New Year.
I also need to say in your introduction here that you are the only woman I know that has used one of my favorite phrases before you knew it was one of my favorite phrases.
I didn't know. Boy, howdy.
Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy.
It's a good one. And I'm
Yes.
taking home a magnet that says boy, howdy today.
Yes,
so I'm
you've
thrilled.
got that. Yes,
I'm really thrilled.
Dave, boy, howdy, Dave Holly
I
style
love
or
it.
something. Yeah.
I unironically use that all the time.
Yeah, I've just always been a fan of that.
It's a good phrase.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just happen to love it and think it's a fun one. If I'm not mistaken, the first time I ever heard it was on Cheers
Yes.
with Woody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I got it through osmosis when I was growing up and my parents were watching that show. I like got it through osmosis from listening.
Either that or through reruns.
Or reruns. Yes. Yes.
The wonderful world of syndication. Oh, so great to see you as always.
Yes. So good to see you.
And
too.
so fun to talk about everything because,
Yes.
man, you have been busy for the past few
Haven't
years.
I just? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Since I came out of the womb, I've been busy.
And you're adding to that.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
So, if you want, go ahead and recap like this past year, everything that you did.
Yeah. So this last year, I have done many things. My highlights, I would say, is I did Oklahoma at the Orpheum. That was a blast and a half. The Breathe Bravely Backyard Bash, the fundraiser for the organization I teach for, went swimmingly. So thank you to everybody who came out for that. What else did I do this year? I've been around with theater labs, and we have a little bit of a singing situation going on. So
a singing
situation. Nancy Tafkin has put together a little group. Her sister Sally and Nancy and I this holiday season did a little bit of a round of Christmas shows for retirement homes. We did one at the Icon. You were there. Thank you for coming. It was wonderful to see you.
Welcome. Yeah.
And then kind of wrapping up the end of the year / going into the new year, I'm singing at the Let the Sunshine In Gala for fundraising for reproductive rights here in South Dakota. So at the Icon, I'm really excited for that. It's at the end of January. So come on down.
And then the other thing is, and I do know now that you did say you had started
yes
your own vocal studio.
Yes, I have.
What prompted that?
So I have been teaching with Breathe Bravely for like 2.5 years, and I really fell in love with teaching. I always knew that was going to kind of be my trajectory, but it really solidified for me what I wanted to do working with Breathe Bravely. So I was like, now's the time. No better time than the present to risk a livelihood, right? when you're 24, you can rebuild it. There's time. And so I opened Paragon Studios in July and have been off and running with that ever since. It's been an absolute blast, and I have nothing but high hopes for what 2025 is going to bring. I'm really excited.
So how did Paragon
get
its name? How did it come about?
Thank you for asking that question. It is a great story. I am in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons circles. I run in the D&D circles. And on one of my D&D podcasts that I'm on, my character has a snake named Perry. And his full name is Paragon, meaning the pinnacle of excellence, because he's a good little snake. And so when I was thinking of a name, there were a couple different things that were like coming across my mind. And I was like, what is something that means a lot to me that also is a good name for a voice studio and isn't silly, but is a little silly because I'm a little silly. So it has to be a little odd. And so I kind of connected the dots with Paragon. Thus, Paragon Studios was born.
All right. And it's a friendly snake, huh?
He's a very
like Casper
snake.
The Friendly Ghost.
Casper the Friendly Snake. Yes, it's very much like that. He's a very good guy. He's a magical snake because it's D&D, of course. So he has magical powers, but he's a good guy.
At least magical powers you made up for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's about the extent of D&D that I know. Is that I just keep coming up with these stories about stuff, and you do this.
It's quite fabulous.
Okay, is there ever a winner in a game?
Yes. Yeah.
How long do these games?
You would be such a good D&D player, Dave. You would be so good at it. You can, I mean, you can range from like a one shot, which is like you just sit down and do everything in one game.
Okay.
Which would be really quick. Or I am in 2 campaigns that are over 2 years long. One of my campaigns is almost 4 years long. So it's like you can play ad nauseum. You can play forever, or you can play in a 2-hour period of time. It's a super cool game. You'd be so good at it. You gotta get in. You gotta get in on it.
Okay, so that'll be something I'll try.
That's a different podcast episode where you try D&D. Dave tries D&D.
Oh yeah, there we go.
It's good.
Would it be on your podcast then?
Do you want to be on my podcast? Dave, I would love to have you on my podcast.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing. I'll teach you how to play D&D. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, on the podcast.
On the podcast.
Very cool. I like it.
I'm serious.
What a great idea.
We'll chat. We'll chat.
We'll talk amongst yourselves.
My people will talk to your people. Yeah.
Thank God we have people, huh?
I wish I had people. Oh, God.
Mine is called the Executive Administrator of Big D Entertainment, better known as my love.
Yes.
Carrie K takes care of me.
Yes. Praise me. Thank you, Carrie.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, because, I wouldn't make it without her.
I know, right?
And then there's always the times that I say, hey, and don't forget we've got such and such coming up on this date. Is it in the calendar?
Caleb does that to me all the time. That's so true.
I got it in my written down calendar.
It's in the calendar in my head.
Yeah, I just don't have it written down on the one that goes through all of the 85 devices we have in this household.
Right.
660 square foot. And let's see. 1, 2 laptops, a big
PC.
nice iMac that I just got. Those aren't mine. They belong to the people I get my insurance from and toil 32 hours a week at.
Yes, right.
And then we've both got iPhones. I have 2 iPads.
Goodness.
And she has an iPad as well.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And the calendar's on every single one of those.
Yes.
Because it has to be.
Yep.
I get it. I get it. I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah, my goodness gracious. So, Caleb and
Yes.
Carrie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's definitely the same way. I'll be like, hey, I have rehearsal today. And he's like, is it on the calendar? Or he's like, I didn't see that on the calendar. And I was like, give me 12 seconds and I'll write down all of the rehearsals that I have onto the calendar. Thank you so much, honey. Love you.
Yep.
Like, it's very much that. It's very much that. Yes. That's hilarious. I didn't know we had that in common and I love that.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
That is a commonality.
It is. It is. I know it.
The calendar in common.
The calendar kerfuffle. The calendar kerfuffle.
Oh, kerfuffle is such a great word.
I know. We're off topic, but I have a.
Who cares?
I know,
It's a
right?
podcast.
Exactly. I have and I just think you'll appreciate this, but in my phone, I have a note in my notes app that's just words I like. And it's just a bunch of different words that I enjoy. And I think, do you have a words I like list too?
Not a words I like so much.
Yeah.
As just like names of people
Yes.
that I'll come across.
Yes.
Because then I'll use them in a comedy bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
Just like,
so
one of my favorite is, because that 32-hour job I just mentioned.
Yes,
I'm on the phone
yes.
often and with various people of various origins. And they sometimes have unique names.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's, of course, just, the typical American that might have an interesting
John
name.
Smith.
No, my favorite was the guy whose last name was Areola.
No, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah,
poor
I don't think he cared for me. I must have rubbed him the wrong way.
Dave.
But
He's a genius. Where's the applause? Applause sound effect.
Oh, well, I think we got to do rim shot first, don't we? There's the rim shot. There's the applause.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Oh, too fun.
We have fun. We have
Yes,
fun
we
here,
do.
Dave. We have fun.
All right. So you've started this Paragon Studio.
Yes, I have.
And you've got clients already.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
great.
I do, yeah.
And you were telling me beforehand that when you came to the point of telling your other employer that you were going to start this, their response was more like, oh, okay. So what's your next step? Instead of all the naysaying.
Yes, I really did expect people to, not that I don't believe in the people that I have around me, but it's like a big thing, right? I'm going to quit my normal, reliable 9 to 5 to do this thing that's risky, right? So I did expect some naysaying. I did expect a little bit of pushback, but everybody that I talked to about it, Ashley Blue Bonema, who's the owner of and director of Breathe Bravely, was the first person I told. And I very much expected her to be like, okay, well, this is going to be a big change and be very, kind of like stepping on eggshells about it. But she was like, great, amazing. What do you need from me? Like, what can I do? How can I help? Here are some students. Let me do some outreach, right? Like, it was so immediately my support system like showed up in full force, and everybody was like, this is the natural next step to what the work you've already been doing. So that meant so much, because there is a lot of people who are like, oh, that's nice, right? Like, it's so I was really grateful that people kind of showed up for me. And
and that makes such a big difference.
Totally,
when
it does.
You do that.
Totally.
In fact, okay, so there's something that I do have written down in a book. Believers. People that believe in me.
Yes.
And, it fluctuates.
Yeah.
It's very fluid.
Yeah.
At different times, there's different people on that list, but I always take a look at the ones that continue to be on that list.
Yes.
And it has paid off.
Yeah.
Just in the past couple of years, the people that believe in me. And so that's how I can afford this nice little unit that we're recording on today that had those cool sound effects. Wow.
I know. First time. I love it.
Yes, it's on its maiden voyage now.
I love it.
So we need a sailor. Come on, get the jig up and
steer away, me jolly boy.
Oh, me scurvy.
Shiver me timbers. I love it.
I love Shiver Me Timbers too.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that should be like a play sometime or something.
Shiver me timbers.
Shiver Me Timbers.
Mhm. That's a good name for a play.
Yes, it would be.
Have you heard of this Broadway musical called Swept Away?
Yes.
That sounds so cool.
Yep.
I wish I could have gone and seen it. I think it's closed now, but
Ah,
it sounds awesome. But that gives the vibe of Shiver Me Timbers.
okay.
It gives Shiver Me Timber vibes.
Shiver Me Timbers.
I love it.
I'm already just thinking of the radio ads for it.
Uh-oh. He's
Big
right.
D Entertainment presents Shiver Me Timbers. All
Obsessed.
sorts of stuff like
Amazing. That would be such a fun. What would it be about? What's the plot?
Actually, the first thing that's popping up into my mind is a kid
Yeah.
that's getting ready to be in his first play
Oh.
in high school.
Oh.
And he's got anxiety, everything else.
I love that.
And it's about a pirate.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. Shiver Me Timbers.
Shiver Me Timbers.
I love
Yeah.
it. That's good. You
Well,
got to
the
write it.
Well, I have to write that one, and I still have one that I've got more of the ideas in already that is called Spilled Milk.
Ooh, good name. I like
Yeah.
it. Tell me the plot.
Okay.
As much as you can reveal.
Well, as much as I can reveal. It is about a comedian,
Mm-hmm.
and outside of comedy,
Mm-hmm.
deals with depression,
Yeah.
but deals with it in a strange way. Usually never says anything bad to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
never complains,
Yeah.
anything along that line. So he deals with his frustration by yelling at himself
Oh,
for
buddy.
10 to 15 minutes.
Aw.
And that's kind of the way that he gets out of it.
Yeah.
And then as he's talking to his therapist,
Mm-hmm.
he says, "You know what?" He says, you cut off my arm. No big deal. Major surgery. That's okay. Not a deal.
Yeah.
Spill milk and I'm sobbing,
Oh, yeah.
because it's the small things that can really
Totally. Getcha.
get you
Yeah.
completely off
Yeah.
of the playing field.
You have to write that. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, that one's got more in it already.
Yeah, the trajectory is further
Yes.
further down the road.
That's true. Yes.
That's cool.
But I'm really digging the Shiver Me Timbers.
Yeah, that is kind of hilarious. Maybe that's the spilled milk guy's origin story.
Oh.
An intersection of the two. How about that?
Yes.
I will take 10% royalties. Thank you so
Okay,
much. I'm just
you
kidding.
got it.
I'm just kidding.
No problem.
That's hilarious.
Did you almost say I'm shitting you?
No,
Oh.
I'm shitting you. That's hilarious.
Because it was going to be like, hey, it's okay. It's a podcast.
I know. Is there cursing on your podcast, Dave?
Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot. It's more just the hell or
Right.
Shit,
Right.
right. The damn, because I referred to the days during the pandemic as the pandemic.
Pandemic.
The pandemic.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is what it felt like.
It was. There's
Yes.
no doubt about that.
Totally.
Wow.
Mhm.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Okay. So Paragon Studio.
Yes.
And you're also got some other things on the line?
I do. I have no details finalized
Okay.
to reveal to you today.
Whoa.
However, I have been working with the wonderful people at Ballerina Dance Studios. They're fabulous.
Yes, they are.
Fabulous.
Raina is amazing.
Amazing.
And everybody that's associated with
Yes.
that out there.
Alice in Wonderland is this weekend in Canton. Go see it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm going to go see it on Saturday. But I may or may not be working with them to offer voice lessons through Ballerina, as well as a musical theater class or two and a heels class, which would be really fun. So I'm very excited to get further down the trajectory of that path.
All right.
And then we're going to, that schedule comes out at the beginning of February.
Okay.
So keep your eyes out for that. if you
And
are
in the
interested.
meantime, then, when it comes to Paragon,
Yes.
tell us what all you offer.
Yes, absolutely. So I do private lessons, of course, and the private lesson is called Paragon Studio sessions. And that looks like 10 weeks of hour-long lessons once a week, usually with a week break in there somewhere, mostly because we'll always end up having a week off anyway. So might as well build one in, right? People are sick or schedules are that way. And I find too that it gives students a little bit of time to reflect with a week off. So so yes, 10 weeks, 1 week off. And that course is anything that student wants it to be, right? I have worked with students who, through Breathe Bravely, who are like, I just want to do breath work. Like, I don't even want to sing. I just want to breathe. And then I have a student who's like, I want to sing Defying Gravity from Wicked. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, anything that particular student wants to work on is
some lofty.
I know. I'm like, I can barely sing that song.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard song. Anyway. And then I also have a audition course. So if you have a big audition coming up of any variety and you want to have somebody to bounce that material off of, that is what I'm here for. I also have a college prep course, which is called Paragon Prep, which I think is a very fun alliteration of a Paragon Prep. And that is for students who want to pursue performing arts at the collegiate level. Because I've been there and done that. I don't know if you know this actually, but I went to 3 different schools and I transferred 4 different times.
Really?
So I have an aggressive knowledge of the collegiate performing arts experience. So
okay.
Yes.
So St. Joseph, or not St.
Stevens.
Joseph. Yeah.
Yes.
Stevens, rather. Stevens College.
Where I graduated.
Where you graduated. Where did you start?
Yes.
And then who got you twice?
How I bounced around. So I started at Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois. And that was like a whole audition circuit, right? That was like, you go, it's a 12-hour audition day, you dance, you sing, you have a monologue, the whole 9. Then they split you up. You get like it was a very intense kind of audition process. And I got in and I was like, amazing. And I went and the training was just not as modernized as I would have liked. And the class sizes were pretty big and I didn't love that. So Stevens was already on my radar since I was in high school, as I had a mentor in high school that had gone to Stevens. So I was like, I want to transfer out of Millikan. I'm going to look at Stevens, transferred to Stevens. And then the pandemic happened. Yes, the pandemic. And it was best for me and my family at that time for me to come back. My family lived in Vermilion at the time. So I moved to Vermilion during the pandemic and attended school at USD for 1 semester. And then I transferred out of USD and I transferred back to Stevens, and that's where I finished. So I have a lot of experience auditioning, transferring, beginning a program, moving to a different program mid-semester, starting a new semester. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have a unique perspective about the collegiate performing art experience because I just jumped around a lot.
Yeah,
so.
that might be accurate.
I
know. But it's just the bachelor's at this point, right?
Yes, I
no
just
masters?
have bachelor's. But I would love to do a master's I really love vocology. So I talk a lot about, with my students, we talk a lot about breath. That's kind of like the core of my work is with breath. And we talk a lot about the mechanics of the voice, right? You've got your vocal cords, and as those vocal cords rub together, they create a vibration, which translates to your eardrums as a frequency. And a higher frequency takes a different caliber of breath than a lower frequency does, and how we can support both of those equally with different amounts of breath. And so I'm really interested in the mechanical, technical aspect of the voice and how it works, especially in tandem with the breath. And so I'd love to pursue a master's in a way that can kind of hone in on that, because that is super fascinating to me. And I find that a lot of students, once they are able to kind of grasp how their voice works mechanically, are able to learn a lot really quickly because they understand how it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's pretty cool to see a student be like, that's what's happening when I sing a high F. They're like, I get it now, right? So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd love to do it.
In fact, that is something that I learned when I took voice lessons. Not too far back, 4 years ago now, I think. Yeah. At the age of 58, I finally took vocal singing lessons.
Yeah.
I had done it for my voice for speaking.
Yes.
Much more. So I knew that I could, the air was coming from the diaphragm, but, it's like, well, no, you shouldn't be taking air in on this phrase. You should be pushing it out.
Yes.
But using the diaphragm to push against it while you're singing it out.
Yes.
Like, okay.
It's hard.
New idea.
Yes, it's hard.
Yeah.
I find too that a lot of students come in with like a preconceived notion of what they feel like their voice and breath can do, and their foundational aspects already solidified. And so when we kind of strip everything back and are like, take air in and drop it down to your lower chambers of your lungs and expand your diaphragm downward, it's kind of a whole other ballgame for a lot of students, especially then when we put it into song work, because a lot of students will have great deep diaphragmatic breaths when I'm like, and in 2, 3, 4 and out, right? Of course, because it's easy to do that. But when you put it in the context of a song, that breath all of a sudden is a clavicular breath in their upper chamber again, and it's really quick. Right. And then it's like, no. You know how to do that diaphragmatic breath. Drop it down. Right. So it's a lot of fun unlearning bad habits with students and learning better muscle memory moving forward, to do exactly what you're saying. Right. Support that sound in a way that they're like, I've not ever done this before. This is new and different. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
What was the biggest surprise to you when you started this?
The real answer is starting a business is not easy at all. I really thought I'd be like, yeah, I'll just like file for the name and then I'll like do the thing.
Right.
Wrong. Incorrect. It's very difficult. There's so many steps involved. Yes. And then this is getting into the nitty gritty of the business side, but in case any listener wants to start a business, this is what happens. You have to you get an EIN from the government, and the government says you have to pay taxes quarterly. So I have to file taxes this month and in April and in, what is the next one? Is it August and then October? No, July and then October. 4 times a year I have to file taxes. It's awful. It sucks. And so that would be, I think, the most surprising part. Is I thought the most challenging aspect would be the like getting clients and like marketing and like building my schedule. But the hardest part really is the logistical side of it. Yeah. And that is what surprised me the most. I will also say it really surprised me how it very quickly became very apparent that like once I stepped into that world was kind of waiting for me to do, you know what I mean? Like once again, it's a really big risk, right? To be like, I'm quitting my 9 to 5 and doing this full time. Scary, very scary. But once I did that, it was very much like a whole other world of opportunities kind of opened up. So it was really cool to see how many other things I had time to do that I really enjoyed that also aided for Paragon, right? So like being able to work with ballerina, right? And like open that entire avenue of opportunity for students there. It's just going to be such a cool new era of my life. I'm very excited.
Excellent. Yeah. I do recall many years ago when I was at KLOAM, had on a gentleman from SCORE, Senior Corps of Retired Executives. And the reason he was on, they were going to have a workshop about having your own business. And then he told me some stories from some previous ones. And it was about a gal that said, oh, I can't wait to just work for myself. So I only have to work half a day.
Nope.
And he told her, you know, you're right. You do get to choose which 12 hours you want to put in.
Yes, so true. It really is. And I think creating your own schedule, too, is such a double-edged sword. Because the freedom is so nice, but also it's only on you, right? Like there's no other authority to keep you. You're not beholden to anything else other than yourself and the commitment you've made to the people you serve. So that's the other part of it is it's like, yes, I get to pick my schedule. I wonder what 12-hour chunk of time I'll choose today. Totally. That's totally right. That's totally right. Yeah.
Or, you know, you do 4 here, take an hour off, take another hour off after a few, and then back and finish. Oh, let's, it's midnight, but
late.
I'm so close to getting this thing done.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Editing is hard. Editing is hard.
Yes, that's right. Because you're now a podcast.
Yes,
host.
I did. We didn't talk about this the first time we were recording.
No.
So I have been on several different D&D podcasts, but I recently started one with my best friend. Her name is Kayla, and the podcast is called Haunted Halls. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to explain it. So it's a TTRPG horror anthology What that means is Dave's face. It's a tabletop. I know, tabletop role playing games.
Oh,
so
okay.
like D&D, Pathfinder, Starfinder. all those
gotcha.
things. Horror anthology. So we do several different like short series of games, and this last one we've been putting out is called White Christmas. I am the game master, so I'm the one kind of running the story, and I've been editing it, and it's so hard, Dave. It's so hard. It takes so much time to edit. There is a section in the where like the reindeer land, right? And it took me 40 minutes to conglomerate all the sound effects together to get the reindeer to land. It's a 3-second like effect, but it took forever.
Yeah.
So I have a new appreciation for you and your work, Dave.
Thank you.
But yes, that's the new exciting kind of podcast that I've got.
Excellent.
So,
yeah.
it's fun.
And as you mentioned the first time we recorded, because it's this brand new piece of equipment that I have.
Oh, yeah.
That eventually is going to be incredibly usable.
Oh, totally. It's already pretty usable.
Yeah, it is. And I'm loving it. I love the sound of it. Everything is working well. And then we went to play back the first interview. So I thought, I just using this for the first time.
You had a feeling.
I want to make sure we've got something. And we got nothing. And then we put it into the laptop. Nothing. Then we tried one little button different, and now we're rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I know. That's the life. That's how it be.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
And what is life outside of entertainment and D&D, obviously? There is such a thing? No.
Yeah, right. For real. No, I'm glad you asked that too. But I have been, my New Year's resolution this year.
Oh, do tell.
Is to say no to more things.
Good for you.
Because I feel like, especially in the arts community, there is this like drive, inclination, pressure to say yes to everything that comes across your plate. And that is how you reach a state where there is no separation. There is no life outside of this, right? Which this is fabulous, right? However, there has to be existence outside of the work we do. So I am taking more time for myself to be more attentive to what I need in life, right? We talked about this a little bit too, but like I ended the year so burnt out that I was like, I don't want to do anything ever again, right? There's this like horrible feeling when you feel that way. So yeah, so this year my life outside of all of this encompasses a lot of movement. I'm taking dance classes at Ballerina. I take yoga with my friend who started the podcast with me. Her name's Kayla. She's fabulous. And we got a cat. Which is absolutely incredible. If you are a person who is like prone to burnout, prone to like being overbooked and like down in the dumps, which I totally was that person, get an animal. I swear to you, they're so fabulous for that.
Great therapy.
Totally. Yes, totally. They're that's chaotic therapy, but therapy nonetheless. But yeah, so kind of it's all about intentionality, and I'm trying to be really intentional with making that time, because I know if I don't intentionally make that time, it will never happen. I'm never just going to come upon a free evening. You know what I mean? So I would say my New Year's resolution is to be a lot more intentional with time.
Yeah.
Time.
See, I am a goals person.
Yeah. What's your goal?
The number one goal this year is to not let disappointment dictate depression.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're disappointed, that's natural.
Yes.
But it's more the doubt part of depression that hits me so often, especially, when you do production and in general, when it comes to arts and entertainment,
totally.
You get rejected on something. It's like,
yes.
Okay. But it's part of life.
Yeah.
And hey, at age 62, maybe I should learn how to live life.
It's hard. It's hard to learn. It's hard to learn how to do. Yeah. I love that.
That's the main thing. It's just if something's just it's paying off already.
Yeah, good.
Because
8 days in, it's paying off already.
Yes.
Good for you.
And the great thing is, because one of the things that I have always had a tough time with this, especially if it's a technological thing and I know it.
Yes.
And it doesn't work right.
Yeah, right.
And that normally would, I don't know if the 5 minutes was all one swear word or stream of consciousness. I don't know. And I just got too worked up.
Yeah.
And I've already been proving it's like, hey, okay, like our instance today.
Absolutely.
Normally you would have heard something bad. My face would have been flushed with fury.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's figure this out.
It's a learning opportunity.
And thankfully, you
from it.
had the opportunity to be around it for the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It all worked out.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
And I think
we're
that's
good
the
on that.
key for like any kind of resolution like that or goal like that is like that it is for a reason. It's a learning opportunity and life goes on, which is hard to learn. But somehow we figure it out. I believe in you, Dave.
All right. Hey, do you have any particular word that you like to live by? A mantra?
Good question. I'm glad that you asked. On the theme of resolutions and goals, I'm also journaling every day for the whole year is my objective.
Okay.
I started on the 6th, so I started a little late, but that's okay. That's okay. At the end of every journal entry, I always write, tomorrow will be a better day. I always write that at the end of my entry. So I guess that's kind of my mantra for the year is tomorrow will be a better day. Even if today was a great day, tomorrow's going to be an even better one. And if today was a horrible, awful, shitty day, tomorrow is going to be a better day. So that's a good question. That's my mantra. Do you have a mantra, Dave?
I do. Compliment.
Oh, that's nice.
I love to compliment people. Got that from my late father.
Yeah.
And I've told this story a few times.
Yeah.
But it never gets old to me, at least.
Yes.
And
I don't think I've heard it.
And he had a heart attack, I think at age 69. And at that time, there was this book called A Purposeful Life that every church, every group,
right,
and so forth, because it was a workbook too, purchased, and everybody kept thinking, what's my purpose in life? And so,
what am I doing here?
Yeah, so then he ends up, making it through the quadruple bypass, and he ended up with 17 more years, I think, or something more than that even. Wow. Yeah. So he asked me, he said, hey, Dave, he says, what, how come I lived? And what's my purpose? Said, Dad, stop thinking in terms of grandiose.
Yes.
You ever thought maybe it's the fact that the gal working behind the till at Rexall Drug on the corner needs you to come in every morning and buy your pack of gum and say, well, hey, sunshine, how are you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was very good about that. And that is one thing that I love doing.
Yeah.
Even if somebody's having that crappy, shitty day.
Yes.
Maybe that one thing, at least for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Made him feel better.
Oh,
yeah. So that's mine.
I love that. Good for you.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a great start to the new year, Dave.
Yes,
this conversation is
I
amazing.
know, and I haven't. Well, I've already gone to the eye doctor, but and I've got all my. I've got like 7 people on my medical team.
Yes, good for you.
And I think
herd of people.
Yeah, I think I have an appointment with each and every one of them, at least in the first 2 months of the year.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Get him off. Get the checklist off early, I guess.
Yeah. Gotta get rid of the deductible. Too.
Yes.
But it's more so just like last year was a crappy year in a lot of respects, but yet it was still a good year. Because I
totally
the people that I get to be around that I care for, such as you, and I have a word for that too. You are framly.
Aw, family.
Friends that you would love to have as family.
I love that. You're my family too, Dave.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Or family members that you consider friends.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so that's a great thing. So you're part of that, and all the people that I get to be associated with, and it's just so wonderful And I've been thankful
Yeah.
that I have all that wonderfulness in my life.
And around you.
Yep. Yeah. And but I just wanted to make sure that the health part is clicking this year.
Yes, for sure. Get that ball rolling.
Yep. Don't want anything coming up and biting me in the ass.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Because I don't have much left.
Yeah, there's not much to bite.
All right. Betty Kay.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Thank you.
It'll be a good year.
Yes, it will
be. A great
be.
year.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Jayson Weihs and Betty Kay. All 260 episodes available online at DaveHollyHour.com. Don't forget to use that search function. You can see who the previous guests were, what the topics were, and you'll also find links to Arts South Dakota and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.